We live? I think so. How are you doing, friends? I hope you're fine. Today we're gonna study and also play some chess here. I'm at chess.com and I'm trying some endgames, some checkmates. We're going through some trainings, then I'll be playing. And the first training that I see here is the two rooks, the king and two rooks against the king checkmate. So we're gonna go through that and discover how to win this kind of position. So here is it's more than half path done because this king is already cut. So that's the first thing we see. And the king is away from this rook, so we don't need to be worried about this king getting close to my rook and capturing it. So the checkmate here will be with this king in the last how do we say this row? Is this a row and this is a file, right? No, this is a file and this is a row and this is a column. Okay, in the last file. So the checkmate will be in the last file. And to do that, in order to do that, we can do like a ladder maneuver with the rooks. So we're checking him here. He's already cut here. Because if I check this king with this rook, then the king will go down and he will escape. So we want to put the king in the corner and we want to put the king in the edge of the board. So that's what we're gonna do. This rook is already doing a good job cutting the king. Then we're gonna go and put them. How do we go? Start. Okay. I think it needs to go fast. I won't go fast. Doesn't need to go fast. We're talking here. So we're going here. Hello. How are you doing, Bob? How are you doing, people? Thank you for being here. We are training some basic checkmates and we are gonna evolve to some another material here at chess.com training. So this is the checkmate. And of course, now this is getting more difficult because the king is not already on the edge. He's in the center of the board and we're gonna have to do the same. So one rook cuts and the other rook gives a check, okay? So this rook will cut the king and this one will give a check. So this is like a ladder. I cannot check him now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna, with the rook, to the other side of the board. Not here, because I want to coordinate both rooks in order that they are free to move either horizontally or vertically. So if I put them like, you know, one over the other, it's not good. So that's why we need to put the most far away, the most far away from the king as I can, and but not one on top of the other. And then we continue the ladder. So we are almost checkmating him. And now this is checkmate. So yeah, let's do it one more time. Okay. This is white to move and to win. So this is basically the same thing. We just need to make sure we are not stalemating the king. Okay. So hello, Giovanni. Good morning. Bon dia. So let's do the same here. Who is cutting? Well, of course we could make a corridor here. I think the corridor is great, but I think it can be easier than that. Okay, we can do it easier than that. Let's just put the rook here and start making that ladder that we talked about. Because here the queen defends the rook, so we can do like that. There were other possible ways to do that. Okay, now the rooks are not coordinated. We just need to coordinate them. And one good move is to cut the board. Okay, we always need to cut the board. Remember that, not giving checks, like hallucinated checks. We want to cut the board. So that's why we're gonna do here. And then we are gonna cut the board again. I mean, if I check him and then he will go back, then I will gonna check him. And then, so let's cut the path. Let's just cut the board. Okay, we're cutting the board. Now we are gonna check. And we're through. And then if I check now, then I lose my rook. So I'm gonna go back here. Remember, not here, not one inside the other. We want them to have full mobility. So here, and the far away from the king, and then we checkmate him. Okay, and the last one, we're gonna do the same. Just put the rooks far away from the king, the other one the other side, okay? And then we're gonna cut the board, not check, cut the board, not check. We only give checks when the board is already cut. Then we can give a check like this. and then we cannot checkmate him now. And I want to check him here. You know, what am I doing with this check? He will either go one side or another. We just need to go to the other side and give a checkmate. Okay, this is the very, very easy path. Okay, this is the time. Of course, we could do with more speed, but that's not the idea here. We want to learn all the patterns and end games. Giovanni, oh, you follow all my videos. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. We're doing some lessons today here at chess.com, and let's go to the next one. So we have here checkmates, end games. Checkmates, let's go. It was the two rooks mate. Let's go to the queen mate, okay? So let's move to the next one, and this is the queen checkmate. The queen checkmate, again, it's always when the king is at the edge of the board, okay? You cannot checkmate a king with a king and a queen against a king, and this king in the center of the board. There will never be a checkmate. So here's already halfway done. We're just gonna support our queen with our king. Okay, so we are gonna move our king the nearest possible to the opponent's king. So we do support for these 3 squares, and our queen is gonna go either one of those 3 squares to checkmate the opponent. So let's start. So, okay, it was another position, but it's like the same. One thing you have to have in mind is not to stalemate your opponent. Like here, we give support with the king, and now we're gonna checkmate either here, or maybe here. There are 3 different checkmates here, but not this move, which would be a draw by stalemate. We don't want to do that, okay? We don't want to do that, so be careful. Make sure that you go close enough. Again, here we got similar position. If I go here, it's a stalemate. It's a draw. It's a draw because the king is not in check and he cannot move. It's like a checkmate, but he's not in check. So that's a draw, a stalemate. So we just want to bring the king, okay? We're gonna bring the king, and then I put my king in front of the king, and I control those 3 squares. And this is mate next move. This is mate next move. Here or either here. This one is nice, but we have 2 checkmates here. Okay, I'll go with this one so we can. I'll go with this one to be instructive. Okay. Okay, here we have another one. Now this is more difficult. We want to make sure the king goes to the corner. So how are we gonna do that? One technique I like is like giving checks like this, like if this were a knight. Okay, so how can I move like it is a knight? I can do like this. What am I doing this? What is the logic behind it? The logic is that I'm cutting the board. As you can see, the queen is already cutting the board. So we're gonna cut the board once more. We can either move the king because it's already in the knight pattern here. The distance between the king and queen, it's already like a knight move. So we could move the king now. It's possibly faster to move the king now because the board is already cut. But in order to be instructive on this knight move idea, let's move like the knight. If it was a knight, it's gonna be check here. Then again, the knight, check. You just have to imagine this is a knight, okay? It's no, there's no point in saying check here. It's not actually a check, but you got the point, okay? We are pretending it's a check with the knight. So we are cutting the board, and again, a knight check here, check. I cannot give one more check, knight check here, because it would be stalemate. Okay, so this is the last one. You need to make sure the king has mobility. The king needs to move until you come with your king and give support to checkmate. Okay, so this is the idea. Let's go one more time. Again, it's like a knight. Let's give checks. Check. Check. Of course, this is not a check. You already know it. Check. Check. Be careful. Be careful. The king is already with only 2 squares. If I go here and squeeze him, it's a stalemate. You already know it. Just bring the king, and you can checkmate those 2 possibilities. 3 possibilities here. Oops, sorry. Let's go for a simple one. And that's it. And okay, here I need to promote. It will make no difference. Now the point is, how can I cut the board? If I give check, he's gonna escape. So we can start cutting the board like this, or like this, a knight check, check. Okay, I'll not go with the check anymore because I can cut the board faster this way. So if you can cut the board, even if it's not a knight check, no, cut the board, cut the board. Now bring the king and go back giving knight checks here, check. And you can either go here, but when he goes to this, you want to make sure that he stays on the edge. So you can cut like this now, okay? You don't need always to do knight checks with the queen. When he's already at the edge, make sure you keep him at the edge, okay? So let's cut to keep him at the edge. And now I can bring the king, and I put my king in front of his king, and it's gonna be checkmate next move. It's gonna be checkmate either here or here. Let's go this one to make it different. And yes, okay, we got it. So yeah, let's move to the next one. Another endgame training here. We are training checkmates. And now let's go to one that's more difficult than the past ones, which is the rook checkmate. Okay, so now we only have the king and our rook to checkmate. How are we going to do that? Oh, this one is tough for beginners. Okay, this one is tough for beginners because two rooks, you can do the ladder, maybe you lose one rook, okay, but you need to know how to do it with one rook. And in order to do that, we need to, again, cut the board the most we can. So I'm gonna move my rook here, so I'm cutting the board. You know, I just wanna make sure this king is going to the corner. So I'm going to cut the board. I'm bringing the king. It's like in this endgame, you move more your king than your rook. Okay, it's the most important is to move your king in this checkmate. Okay, so let's keep moving the king, or we can move the rook. Okay, we can move the rook here. It's not a stalemate. Now the king is already cut, and then it's very, very important to move your king. Move your king until it's really like facing this king, or it's like taking those squares for him. So make sure he cannot escape, and then you give a check, and that's gonna be a checkmate. Okay, so it's really important. You can count how many king moves I did and how many rook moves I did. So most of my moves were king moves. Okay, so very, very important to move your king in this kind of endgame. Again, we're gonna cut the board. But here there is, yeah, we're gonna cut the board. This is the easiest and the fastest way. Of course, you can do like this and just make sure he goes to the corner. But let's go instructive here. I'm cutting the board and now I'm giving checkmate. Okay, this is as simple as that. Of course, this is gonna get more complicated now. Let's see. Okay, the king is already cut, and we wanna cut it even more. And how are we gonna do that? We just want to make sure that this king goes to the corner more and more. So I'm going to move my king, or giving support to the rook and getting in front of him, like getting opposition. Okay, so now we cut the king. How? We're going to bring the king. So this board is already cut. So we're going to improve the king. Remember, it's most of the time it's more king moves. So you got in this situation that what are you gonna do? You can cut the board, cut it a little more, cut it a little bit more, and now you cannot move your king, but you can check him. So you're cutting the board a little bit more, check him, and now your rook is attacked. What are you gonna do? Move it away? Of course not. You gotta move your king. So your king is the key in this endgame. Move your king. Again, this is getting like a pattern. I'm gonna check him, and I'm gonna defend my rook here. And now what can I do? Am I gonna do check here? No, he's gonna escape. He's gonna escape. Am I gonna checkmate him? No, he takes the rook. He takes the rook. I gotta make sure the board is already cut. So I was really hoping it was his turn to move, because then he would go here and I would checkmate, right? But it's not, it's my turn. So how can I make sure that his king is gonna go here and I will checkmate next move? Any move I keep in this column, okay? Unless, the only one I cannot play is this, of course. But any move, let's do just a small jump here. He king moved, now I checkmate, okay? So this is always like the same pattern. Here is the most difficult. Here is a little bit more difficult. But yes, when the king is in front of the king, you want to check. Because the king cannot go anywhere here. You're going to check here. He will have to go one row back. So remember, most important, moving the king. Okay, so now we're moving the king here. Okay, and then we're gonna try to cut the board. Okay, a check here is fine because now he has to decide where to go. And as you can see, we are cutting the board. We can bring the king now. We can bring the king. Remember, move the king. In this situation, again, it's like the last example. We wanna just pass the turn. We wanna just pass the turn, okay? And then we make a position, and then we wanna pass the turn again. I know this seems complicated. I know this seems complicated, but you get the idea with the training, with a little bit of training. But to be easy, of course, here is a good move, and he goes here, I go back, and he goes here, I check. This can be a little with practice. This will be automatic, but you can keep cutting the board, keep cutting the board, keep cutting the board. Okay, so you're already cutting the board a lot. Not now, because you do this, he escapes. So move your king, and now we can cut the board, Of course, this is the fastest way to go, but if you want to cut the board just to make sure, you can do like that. It will take 1 or 2 moves, extra moves, but don't worry. Then bring your king. And when you reach this position, just make sure he's getting cut. This is the key. Most of people fail here. Okay, it's important to talk about that. Most people fail here. You're gonna either do check or you're gonna move your king and lose your rook. You don't know what to do here. Just remember that your king is already not allowing this king to escape. All you have to do is make sure that you route the king to the corner. So you have to choose which square to take from this king. Keep taking this square from him. So just move like this. Just move like this. So then the king moved there. Now bring your king in front of the king. And then you just want to make sure your king is already doing a great job here, and your rook also. You want to make sure that this keeps those squares keep taken. So you just move your rook anywhere. Of course not here or here. Anywhere. And now you checkmate. So that's the idea. I think you got it. And now let's do it faster this time. Just cut the king. Just cut the king. All you have to do is cut the king, bring your king, cut the king. Now that maneuver, I can just make sure that he will not go here. So I go here. Put my king in front. Make sure he will not go here. My king is already taking those squares, the rook. Any move here. Any move. Just keep in this file. Now you check him. When the king is in front of the king, you check him. Because your king is taking those squares, he will have to go back. And now you protect your rook. And that's it. And that's it. I can either go here or, cut the board a little bit more. You see the best way you prefer. Now we're going to cut the board. Cut the board. Bring the king. And now I just want him to play. So I just want to make sure that all those squares are taken. What can I do? Just move the rook. Anywhere. Move the rook and checkmate. So this is how you do it, okay? Let's go to the next end game here. So let's go to the checkmates. We're doing checkmates today, and we're gonna do now the 2 bishops mate. The 2 bishops mate is like it's not easy, my friends. It's really not easy. Well, here we're gonna start very softly. So it's good to start this way to see that the checkmate is gonna be at the corner. Okay, there's no other square. There are only 4 squares at the chessboard. You can checkmate with 2 bishops, unless your opponent plays bad. Like you have a king here, his opponent king is here, and then you checkmate him. But your opponent really wants to get checkmated, so it's possible. Not on the corner, but your opponent has to help a little bit. Most of the times it's gonna be on the corner. Okay. So this bishop is already not allowing this king to escape, and your king is make sure the other squares are taken. So it's really as simple as giving check until it's checkmate. So let's give a check. He's going to the corner, and the other one is checkmate. Okay, this position is already helping us to see the end position. Okay, this is the end position. This is checkmate. So now this gets a little bit more complicated. If we move this bishop away, the king is going to escape. We just want to make sure the king goes to the corner. So our king is already making a good job, and this bishop as well. So again, this is as simple as giving checks and throwing him to the corner and checkmate him. Now this gets more complicated, and here comes an interesting technique, which is the bishop. When the bishop is besides the other, you are making sure that this king cannot escape. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the squares are being taken here. I'm gonna paint them. I'm gonna paint those squares so you can clearly see what's going on. This king has only few squares here. Can I paint it other color? Here are the only available squares for this king. Look at how interesting is that. So when the bishop is besides the other, like they're making sure that the king cannot go anywhere. He cannot cross those lines, okay? He's stuck there. And it's good. And it's good. We want to do it a little bit more, but we need help from our king. So the key now is to bring the king. Always remember to go with the king. Not just let your king away. He gotta come together. If I check him here, he escapes, okay? So I cannot give check like this. He's going to escape. Can I do a check like this? Let's see. Well, it seems so. It's apparently a good move because the king cannot escape now. So least squares available, fewer squares available. And now we are able to do like this or like this, which I prefer. Because now what is going on? Let's paint those squares again. Let's paint those squares. Look at that. Look at that. Only available squares here. Ta, 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 ta. Be careful not to stalemate him, but this is the perfect condition to checkmate. Now what we're gonna do? Bring the king. The king has to be in a good position. Look at what the king is doing, okay? So now this king continues with only those two squares. We want to throw him to the corner. We want to throw him this way. How can we do it? We just want to make sure that all those squares keep taken. So we want to make sure that mainly those squares here, so he cannot escape. Okay, my king is already taking care of those three squares here. Those three squares here. Okay, so I just want to make sure I don't move my bishop away from this square. Then he escapes. So I have to move my bishop anywhere, in a way that he keeps blocking this square. Okay, so any move. Let's move this way. Okay, good. Now we don't want the king to come here. Can we do it? Just don't move them. Just don't move those. Those are in an ideal position. Can we move a piece here and not allow the king to go here and try to escape? Of course we can. We just gotta move the bishop here. Look at that, how magical. We're throwing the king in the corner. Now, how can we make sure that he will not go here? I know, I'm gonna move the bishop here. No, this is a stalemate, okay? Because if you keep the bishop here, the king can go nowhere. So you gotta make sure that you throw him to the edge. So you cannot allow him to go here, but you have to allow him to go here. So that's why you're gonna move the bishop once again. Here, and now look at that. This bishop is not taking part of nothing here. The king and this bishop, the dark square bishop, are making sure that this king goes nowhere. Look at that. This king can go nowhere, okay? So now this is a perfect position. If I play bishop here, it's a draw because it's a stalemate. So make sure that this position is critical. Most people fail here. Just make sure you allow him to go here. So make any bishop move, but not this one, okay? Any other, except here. You can make any bishop move here, any bishop move. You can go here, 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 either here But let's just go back here. Let's just go here for the safe move. Now we're gonna check, and then we're gonna checkmate. Okay, so sometimes you just have to pass your turn, like we did that. We just passed the turn. Now we are checkmating. Okay, got the spirit? Let's go once more. Let's go a little bit more. Again, we just want to make sure that we're gonna put bishop besides the others. So let's put the bishops here. We gotta protect our bishop here. And now we can put it here. Okay, so both bishops already making a good job here. Look at that. Look at that. They're already making a good job here. Now the king is already cut. The king has only this way here. This is his field. This is his field. He can go nowhere. He can go no other place. This is his field. So it's getting good. I gotta move my king. I gotta help with my king. We wanna squeeze him a little bit more. When he goes like this, we can go like this and then like this. And we are squeezing him. Just make sure to move the right bishop. If I do this, then he escapes. Okay, so we don't wanna give checks now. We wanna restrict the king. So this is the best move here. And now we can do like this. They are once again side by side, and then the king is. Look at that. No. Let's do it one more time. Things are getting tough for this king because look at that. Now this time he got fewer squares. Okay, his field is getting smaller. So now bring the king. Now it's important to bring the king, and then he's trying to escape. If I check him here, he escapes. If I do this, he escapes. I just gotta move my king. When there's no move to do, move your king. Okay, move your king. Now we can do something very nice. He wants to escape again. We are not going to allow. It's just as simple as that. Not allow. It could be a check, but we wanna keep pieces together. Okay, so this. And now we're gonna do this side by side one more time. Look at that. Now things are getting really narrow for this king, and we can do like this. Restrict even more. He can just make sure he cannot escape. If I do this, he escapes. Just make sure he cannot escape. Okay, that's perfect. Then my bishop goes here. It's all over. He just got those two squares. Look at that, one more time. He just got those two squares. He's squeezed. Now what you do? Bring your king. Remember, this king is taking those three squares because he already knows that the opponent's king is going to be checkmated here. That's why the king goes here. He just want to make sure he's taking those three squares away from this king. Now, we want to throw him to the corner. Remember that? We're going to move this bishop, making sure that he's taking those squares. So we can move it here. Don't be afraid. Now we're going to move it here, throwing him away. Now we're going to move it here. Remember, not here. This is stalemate here. And now you go here and stalemate. And then you cry. No, don't do it. Don't do it. You just want to make sure that when you move your bishop, it comes with a check. So you move your bishop and then you come with a check. Be careful not to stalemate him, okay? And this is the last time. Let's do it quick. We're just squeezing him. Bring the king. Be careful. I've seen this a lot of times. This is stalemate. You need to get used to see how bishops cooperate together. Don't move your king in a position like that. Just make sure the king is getting squeezed, okay? So you want to make sure he's getting to the corner. You can move your bishop here, like it's an example. Or you can move like this. Okay, so let's move like this. Then he's gonna bring the king, right? So let's move like this. No problem at all. And okay, and then the bishop comes here. Okay, now he's got only those two squares, okay? And we wanna make sure to throw him to any of those corners. Because my king is already here, I'm gonna, throw him to this way. So here, what do I have to do here? I gotta put my king here. So I gotta help him with my king because I'm taking this square. Then I'll be able to play bishop here. Look at that. King is taking this square. Now I can play bishop here and throw him. Look at that. Okay. Now I want to make sure that the king is not escaping. So this move. And now I gotta move my king. Yeah. Now it looks like he could escape. He could escape. I would just give a check here, and everything would be fine, okay? So as you can see, this is a little bit different, but follows the same logic. We just want to make sure that he does not get stalemated, but he has room enough. And here we're just gonna check him, and this is mate. Okay, this got a little bit different than last examples, but following the same logic. Nice. All right, so let's go to the next. Here we're gonna train all the possible checkmates here, okay? All the elementary checkmates. And now we're gonna do this with bishop and knight. Whoa, this is the most difficult of all. This is the most difficult of all elementary checkmates, okay? Not now because, you know, he's helping us with this starting position, but he's showing us a very important thing here, a truly key factor here, the truly key factor. This king is gonna be checkmated in the corner of the color of the bishop, okay? So if this bishop if this bishop were black dark squared bishop, then we're gonna do checkmate in a dark square corner. But because this is a light square bishop, then this is already correct here. Then what are we gonna do? Now this time is as simple as mating 2. It just doesn't look difficult, but it starts like that to show this key factor that the checkmate is gonna be in the corner of the color of the bishop, okay? This is key, this is key. If you don't know that, you will never be able to checkmate with a bishop and a knight, okay? If you don't know that, forget, you will never checkmate. You got 50 moves, that's the rule in chess, you got 50 moves to do that, to do this checkmate, okay? And if you can, you know, you start moving your knight, and I've seen this a lot of times. I've seen international master not being able to do this because it was not, he could not record in his mind how to do that, okay? So don't worry if you find it difficult. I've seen international master not being able to checkmate. It doesn't mean you have to be an international master to do this checkmate. Actually, you can do this after this class, okay? After this video, if you train it. I'll give you the technique, and then you have to train yourself, okay? But you don't have to be an international master. You can do it today, okay? So, all right. So, the bishop is dark square, so this is already very good. We're gonna checkmate him. Just make sure not to stalemate him. This would be a draw. This would be painful. So we just wanna try. We have to imagine here what would be the end position here. No, don't be too worried here, because your king and your bishop are already making a good job. So this king can only go, the king can only go here and here. So it's important to see that. It's important to see that the king can only go those two squares. So don't be scared. Freely move your knight here and try to think how you're gonna checkmate him. Okay. So one idea is to put the knight here. So can we do it? Of course we can. We can do it in 3 moves. Okay, so why are we going to put the knight here? Because the knight here would be blocking the bishop. It would be blocking this diagonal. We don't want to do that. We want to give this bishop really space to play. So this knight here will go here. So imagine this position. Imagine like it was check here, the knight is here. So the knight will go here to take away this square, and the bishop will go here to checkmate, okay? Then this is gonna be a checkmate. That's why we wanna put the knight here. You just wanna make sure you're not gonna stalemate your opponent when you do it. So let's go. So if I put my knight here now, this is a stalemate. What do I have to do? I have to pass the turn. I want him to play, okay? So I'll just make sure my bishop keeps protecting this c1 square. Okay, so I can make any move like this. It's not good to go here because the king will come with a tempo, then you'll have to go back. So just make sure you don't go like this. Keep it distant. Keep it distant, okay? Now the magic happens because I can go with the knight here with the check. My king is not allowing him to escape, and the bishop as well. So he's at the corner, the ideal point to checkmate him. Okay, so now this is Fairly easy. Okay, now things are getting more difficult because remember, can I checkmate him here with this bishop light square? Never, never. There's no way I'm gonna checkmate him here. Okay, this is the good news. Now you know it. Now the bad news is that you have to throw this king to either one of those corners. All right, and we're gonna do it right now. This is the most difficult part of this technique now. Now you're gonna really learn the technique because this is what happens in real games. Your opponent, and now that you know it, if you have the king, go to the opposite color of the bishop. Okay, so you can try to fool your opponent. If he doesn't know how to do it, then you're safe when here. You will never be checkmated keeping your king at this corner. So we want to make sure, we want him to go here. Like we want to checkmate him here. It's not easy. Okay, now pay attention because here is the technique. The first thing we're going to do is like the knight and king pattern. We're going to move the knight here. So why are we doing this? Because we want to take away this square. We want to throw him all this way, remember? So the first step is to put the knight here. The knight, always the knight. Remember that, always the knight. The knight is taking away this square. Now the king is going to be doing like this. So how can we force him to go there? We want to make sure that we are going to play here. He's going to go here, then we're going to play here. And then the king will be forced to go there, okay? Let's do it. So the bishop comes, and the bishop takes away his square. And now is the point most people fail. It's here where most people fail. You're gonna play here. It's natural, and it's wrong. And it's wrong. Trust me, this is wrong. Because you play here, he goes here. And then he's threatening to escape. So you go here, he goes here, and then you go back, and then he goes here. And then you don't know what to do. And if you repeat 3 times, it's a draw. So this is where most people fail. And I tell you that the maneuver here is like the jump of faith. I used to say this is the jump of faith. You have to be faith to have faith here. Because the correct move is this one. And it just seems wrong, right? It just seems wrong. It seems like the king is going to escape. But have faith. Have faith. Of course, I'm kidding. It's a mathematical maneuver. The point here is that we want to put our knight here. Of course, this gotta be protected by our king. Okay, so that's the point here. I'm gonna move here. If he goes here, then I check him, and then he goes away. He goes here. Then I come with the king. And then look, because my knight would be here taking away this square, then the king would have to go there. I know this is not easy. I know seems too much complicated, but trust me, friends, there's no other way to do it. So you really need to learn this position, not move the king and move this knight here. And what if he goes here? That's why we get really scared. Don't worry, keep bringing the king. There's a magic here. There's a magic thing here. Because when my king, look at that. I'm gonna play here, and then I'm playing here, and then I'm playing here. And when my knight gets here, he will be, this is the key. You pay attention to it. This is the key. When my knight is there, and my king is there, this knight, which will be here, let's paint. If you learn that, you will never you will never have problems anymore in your life with this checkmate. Look at this. This knight is taking those squares here. Okay? In this, imagine he is in this red square. The knight is taking those squares. And if you move the bishop, look at that. Again. You're making a barrier here. So you can see that. You're drawing a line here. You're making a barrier here. So trust me, this is the way to go. Okay, this is the technique. Don't worry, let's do it. Okay, he's trying to escape. Bring the king. Regardless of his play, it seems like he's running away. Don't worry, go with that. Have faith. Because now, look at that. Your knight is in a light square, is taking away the dark squares. And your bishop is gonna complement, is gonna fulfill the needs to take away the light squares. This king wants to desperately go here and escape and go and go to the dark corner. That's what this king wants to do now. And how can you prevent him from going here? You're gonna move your bishop here. Then look at that. You made a barrier here with your knight and your bishop. This king is gonna try to escape here. Let's see what's gonna happen. But your knight is taking away this square. Your king is taking away this square. All you will have to do is make sure that the king cannot escape, but your bishop is taking away this square. Look at this. This is magical. Let's do it. Let's do it. Look at that. Now it seems like this king is going to escape, but he's going nowhere. My king is taking away those squares. My knight is taking away this square. My bishop is taking away this square. And my knight is taking away this square. And the bishop taking away this square. Look at that. This is how you solve this checkmate. This is beautiful. This king is locked. This king is already locked. It seems he's going to escape. He will not. He will get checkmated. So what do you do now? You pass the turn. Just make sure the bishop keeps guarding those squares. Now that's the key maneuver. Okay, you have to lose. You have to lose your turn, and then you play here because now the barrier is complete. The king cannot go here anymore. Look at that. I move my bishop here. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. And now we continue. Our saga. And the good news is the knight is not letting the king to escape. So I move my king now. It looks like he's going to escape. He wanna go here. So the knight is already taking away the dark squares. My king is already taking away those squares, but there's a hole here. There's a hole. This king wants to escape. The only hope for this king is to go here, and then he will be really happy. You cannot allow that. You don't want this king to be happy, so you move your bishop, okay? And now you don't want him. He wants to go there. Can you understand that we were at the same position here, like a few moves ago? The same pattern. The knight in front of the king. Now we're gonna move the bishop, like the same pattern. We did it. We did the exact position. 2 columns shifted to the left a few moves ago. And now that's the point. Again, what you're gonna do? The jump of faith. But now it's not faith anymore. Now you know the technique, okay? But this is where most people fail again. You play here, you play here. Again, it's the same situation. So what do you have to play here? You already know, right? You already know the jump of faith. Yeah, my friend. This is as simple as that. When you learn it, when you train it, you will master it and you will never miss this checkmate anymore, okay? Now let's do it, the jump of faith. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna move the knight here, the king here, the knight here, and the knight is going to cooperate with the bishop so the king will not escape. Let's do it. Okay, now this is tricky. If I move my king away, then he escapes. So, if he had moved here, then I would have moved my king. But because he already moved here, then I can go directly with the knight. And then I protect my knight. And then the king has to go there. Look at that, how beautiful it is. Now the king has to go there. And now we can make sure that our king goes and we are not allowing to escape. Remember, my king will be here, my knight will be here, and my bishop will be here giving checkmate, and the king will be in the corner. That's the final position. How can we do it? You want to make sure that when you move your king, he will try to escape, but then you're going to check him, okay? Look at that again, those squares. This king cannot escape. So you move your king here. He will try to escape. If he tried to escape, you give check, and then he goes here. And then, again, you just, this king is already trapped. So let's move the bishop. So as we can see, this is the ideal position because the bishop's taking away this square, my king is taking away those 3 squares, and the king has only those 2 squares. And my knight can travel. My knight can go anywhere he wants, except he cannot stalemate the king, okay? But remember, you have 50 moves to checkmate, so just make sure you don't go that far with your knight, you know. You don't have to do that. So we remember, we want our knight here and the bishop checkmating. So let's do it. Yay! No! You stalemate, it's a draw. So remember to take care of that. Take care of that, okay? What we're gonna do, just move the bishop, make sure the bishop is taking away the f1 square, move the bishop. And now when you move your knight, it's gotta be with check, okay? Then you check, and then you checkmate. That's the idea. Now, yeah, things will get more complicated now because the pieces are not cooperating. I'll try to do this quicker this time. Otherwise, this is gonna be like this, a never-ending video, and we don't want that, right? He's going to the dark square corner. Can you see it? Can you see like what he's doing? He's going to the dark square corner. And okay, don't worry. Now bring your pieces. Try to coordinate them. Okay, this king is escaping. Wow. How can I do it? Wow, he's escaping. If I check him, yeah, that's not good. Okay. Now this is tricky. Now there's no technique here. You just need to think. That's the truth. You need to think. My king is taking this square. My knight is taking this square. I just want to make sure that I want to put this king in that corner. So we start from our technique. Okay, just to be instructive here. And okay, let's move the king. Okay, that's already fine. So we want our knight here. We want our knight here. Let's start the maneuver. So here we go. And we want our knight here. Okay. So remember, we got the perfect position. Sometimes it's difficult to get to this position, but now it's just to apply our technique. Let's do it. The jump of faith. The jump of faith. Don't worry. The jump of faith. Now the key. The key. The jump of faith. Now pass the turn. Now restrict the king. Now bring the king. Now don't allow him to escape. Don't allow him. Cover this hole. Cover the hole. And now we are ready to go to the jump of faith one more time. But now his king is already going to the corner and there is no way he could escape here. Okay, he's already at the final position. I just don't want to stalemate him. I'll pass the turn and then I'll go and I'll checkmate. So this was faster this time because I'm not explaining too much. Oh, this is tricky. Now, wow, the checkmate will be in the dark. So we're always doing the light square. Okay, let's go. He wants to go here. All right. I will allow him to go there. I will allow you to go there. Oh, this is... Okay, I'm not doing the best moves here. But okay, let's do it one more time. He's going to that square, no problem. Just bring the king. Sometimes it's difficult to do those first moves. So he has only 2 squares here. Yep. Okay. We want to put our king there. Just make sure you're not going to stalemate him. This is tricky. I'm going to do like this. So I take those. Okay. Okay. This worked. All right, people. And what we're going to do here, we want to put our knight here. Here, remember? So we also want to make sure he doesn't escape like this. So I'm gonna do like this. Okay. He wants to escape here. My knight has to go there. Now this you don't have a technique for this. You just have to think a little bit. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to think. Like it's difficult to put the knight here. It takes almost 4 moves. 1, 2, 3, 4 moves. It's difficult, but okay, let's do it. We are patient people. We are patient people. Okay, now it worked. All right, so let's apply the technique. Jump of faith. Bring the king. Show the knight. Cover the hole. Pass the turn. Restrict. Bring the king. Cover the hole. Bring the bishop here, restrict. Now jump of faith. Go there, bring the king. It gets automatic when you train this. Now pass the turn and you checkmate him. Okay? It looks easier. The more you train this, the easier it gets. Now the more it's like becomes automatic. So you gotta train this yourself, okay?